Everybody's been talking about the Dan Bilzerian interview with Piers instigator Morgan. I watched the full interview, and there are people who are genuinely affected by the images and stuff they see on X when it comes to the situation in Gaza, right? And there are people starting to realize that there's only one group of people on the internet that you can't criticize without getting your bank accounts frozen, literally not be able to work a regular job anywhere, and possibly have a target on your back, right? And people are starting to realize that, right? Because there's several people who have spoken up about certain things. It didn't fare too well for them. So shout out to Dan Bilzerian for putting it on the line. There are certain things there's certain narratives being pushed on the mainstream media, X, social media, Instagram, to where it actually is demonizing Jewish people, which is wrong, right? There's absolutely nothing wrong with Jewish people. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the Jewish religion. Okay? It is, you need to distinguish Judaism with the Z word, right? Zionism. Big difference. I'm seeing a lot of people on the internet that are truly anti-Semites. Whether, you want to accept that term or not, I don't really accept, the whole Semite thing is, it's a vague term because then Palestinians are Semites, right? Anyone living in that region is practically a Semite. So, there's no, that word was like invented in Europe or something, right? But it applies to a whole range of people. They even say certain groups in like Ethiopia and, all the way up to, the whole Horn of Africa. Those people are Semitic. So it's a loaded word, right? So Dan Bilzerian's kind of he's stretching it a little bit, right? Because there is you need to distinguish the two differences between Judaism and Zion. Judaism rejects Zionism, by the way, right? You study the Jewish religion, you know anything about Judaism, they don't believe in even establishing a land. Okay, let's get into these clips real quick, man.
And they believe the Virgin Mary is a whore. So I don't think those are two religions.
You do?
I don't like a religion that says that they're better than other people. And what's that?
Well, you do. You obviously do. It's blatant. No one watching this will draw any other conclusion. I'm staggered about how brazen you've been.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it when people think they're better than other people. And you see that in Israel, and they're acting like that, and they're treating Palestinians like second-class citizens. They're treating them like subhuman beasts, and it sells that in their Talmud. So it says if you are not a Jew, that you are basically subhuman. And I don't think that Judaism and Christianity go hand in hand. I mean, they believe that Jesus is in hell burning in human shit, and they believe the Virgin Mary is a whore. So I don't think those are two religions that really intersect very well. But we've been programmed that they do, and we've been programmed that it's okay and that Jews are the chosen people, and I just disagree with that. I think everybody's equal.
Do you even comprehend how this interview is going to play out when it airs?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be bad. But, my opinion is not politically correct, but I believe that is the truth. There's 2 billion Muslims, but everybody wants to, promote this anti-Muslim, this hatred for Muslim, like they're all, these terrorists. And I think the Israelis are the terrorists. I think they are the ones perpetuating the big acts of terrorism. And, nobody wants to talk about that.
And what do you say to Jewish people who may watch this and be utterly horrified by what they're hearing?
Utterly horrified about what they're hearing. Utterly horrified. Piers is one of those guys that knows there's some truth to what Dan Bilzerian is saying, because he's called out a lot of the massacres that have occurred, this past year, and almost year and like a month. And he's called it out. He said this is absolutely disgraceful. This is disgusting. This is inhumane. This is This doesn't make any sense. How could you call this place a democracy or a moral nation or which is completely hilarious to even refer to it as that. But he obviously he's owned and operated. He's getting spanked in the butt, same way as Donald Trump's being spanked right now. But for those of y'all MAGA guys, oh, Donald Trump's gonna get in there and kick all the neocons out and the rogue bureaucrats. He didn't kick anybody out, guys. He just nominated that Ratcliffe, who literally he wanted to withdraw. What do you want to do? He wanted to withdraw, like not be able to spy on Americans without having a warrant. Then he bring Marco Rubio, the war hawk, the wannabe war hawk, because he's really a little loser piece of shit. And then Elise whatever the hell her name is, the Wicked Witch of the wild Washington, D.C. suburbs, right? So, man, he's bringing down all the wrong people. He's swamped. He is swamped, guys. When I tell you he's swamped, he is swamped. And he turned his back on Cash Patel, the bootlicker. the bootlicker. Cash Patel, he turned his back on his ass for a Secretary of State position. All the MAGA guys were trying to, we should, get Cash Patel up in there, man. Nope. We need establishment as much as possible. All right, let's keep going.
They mass murdered Christians. I was horrified to learn the things that they teach in the Talmud. I was horrified that they think that Jesus is burning in shit in hell. I was horrified that they think that the Virgin Mary is a whore. I was horrified to learn that they think it's okay to steal from Gentiles. I was horrified to hear that there's, two sets of justice. I was horrified to find out that they think it's okay to, gang rape Palestinian prisoners. I was horrified about all those things. I'm horrified that we're funding a genocide right now. So they can be horrified.
Dan Bilzerian.
I don't like a...
Oh, man. And, of course, Piers Morgan has to, he needs to comment on all types of anti-Semites. And no one hates Jewish, but this is the biggest lie that there's this whole group of people that truly hate Jewish people. Like, everybody's one of those KKK white supremacist guys. Like, no, we're not Nazis. We're just calling out the 40,000, 16,000 children who have been maimed and slaughtered this past year, or more than that. I don't even think that's me being nice. I think it's 25 plus. Sick. This is coming from a guy who is a full-blown degenerate, guys. I never liked this guy, his career, nothing about him. Like, he was just on Instagram with, he's pretty much tricking on hundreds of women. He was having sex 9 times a day, he says. So this is coming from a dude who was a blatant, degenerate, who was a spoon-fed degenerate. But I shout out to him. I think he tweeted put a tweet out one time. He put a tweet out and it went viral, and he just ran with it. So shout out to him. As long as he's standing on business, and he's now selling out to the warmongers, the actual terrorists that inhabit the Pentagon.
October 7th, it's not nearly as bad as what they say.
Well, those didn't happen in single days, as you know.
Well, I mean, you have...
This is another thing.
Sabra and Shatila, I mean, that was 3,500 people, so that was basically 7 October 7ths, and October 7th,
Thank you.
Numbers get inflated.
Thank you. Finally, someone got it right, guys. October 7th is minuscule compared to the several massacres that have occurred over the years. Sabra and Shatila, 3,500 massacred Palestinians and Lebanese living in that region, right, who are, Muslim Lebanese, Shiite Lebanese, and the Palestinian refugees. Massacred, 3,500, right? Nothing. I mean, we don't even want to begin from 1948 till now. Over what, hundreds of thousands of people, if not, close to 1 million people massacred, maimed. And then you have the 1,200 figure, which, to be honest with you, is more like 400 to 500. And then the Hannibal directive got initiated on that day, which says, kill all potential hostages. They literally have a policy that says, hey, kill all potential hostages. So Lord knows how much they killed on their own, right? And then you have a huge percentage of those, the 400 to 500 that Hamas killed, which were IDF soldiers, because pretty much every citizen in Israel has to serve on the IDF. I mean, they have no choice. Like they have to be, they have to at least do a year of service or something like that.
A lot too, because you're not taking into account that it was only 650 civilians, and there was the Hannibal directive that was employed, and the Hannibal directive is when the military is basically killing civilians so that they aren't taken as hostages, and that had to be hundreds of people. So I would argue that it was less than 500 civilians that were killed, and to me, that is much less than what the Israelis have been doing to the Palestinians.
But you said
even the year of the year when October 7th happened, they had killed hundreds of Palestinians that year. It was the bloodiest year for kids. So that was a reply to what had been happening.
But when you say that October 7th wasn't as bad as people have said, what do you mean by that? Because from Hamas's own boasting through their GoPro cameras, they mutilated, burned alive, raped and set fire to homes. They kidnapped babies. They kidnapped Holocaust survivors, grandparents. They did just about every act of depravity it is possible to do. And they didn't just do it. They gleefully posted it on social media and the internet so that we could all watch in real time the horrors that they were perpetrating. It's
no evidence of all that.
It's hard to imagine a more horrific act than what happened that day. Why would you try to downplay it?
Well, I mean, there was only 2 babies killed from what I was told, and one was in the hospital, and the other one was shot by a bullet. There was no babies in ovens. There was no, beheaded people that I saw. The rapes were disproven. So all that was Israeli propaganda. And the problem is Israel has continued to lie and lie and lie, and they've been caught lying. And they're the only ones that have actually been caught red-handed raping prisoners. And they've done it, and the people that raped the prisoners were now heroes, and they got released, and there was nothing that happened to them. So I think it's very hypocritical to focus on things that they're doing and then try and blame them, on Hamas or the Palestinians.
It's interesting because,
it's just, to me, total bullshit.
Yeah, Piers has to cater to he has to speak on propaganda, because he'll literally lose his job. I mean, the moment that he gets stumped in one of these interviews, or the Israelis look really bad, and his propaganda just falls, he's already looked bad in several episodes, but he's done a pretty good job at fighting back. I mean, there's no, the guy's a well-spoken guy, he has his, he knows how to play both sides of the coin, because he's done interviews, by himself with other people, and he's talked about his distress and his disdain towards what's going on with the civilians and the massacres and the genocide that's going on, right? So Piers has to put a front up, and it is what it is. I mean, there's nothing you can do. He has to, or else he's out of a job and possibly shadow banned, and So, I mean, shout out to Dan Bilzerian, man. It's really not that hard to disprove these scumbags. It's as easy as just, having a little bit of common sense. And then you have this clown here, this circus clown, Michael Rappaport. What a circus clown. Michael Rappaport, guys, had a career, a failed comedic career, where he's latched onto, I don't know if the guy was he a rapper? Was he trying to rap at one point? He's always, he's always been some guy that's like, he's never even proclaimed his Jewishness. We never heard he was Jewish until October 7th, right? And so he posts this about Dan. He's like, I'm sick of Piers Mogran having disgusting, known, proven shitbag Jew haters on his show, and afterwards saying, I don't agree, or do you know what you're saying? Fuck that. Jewish people, please unfollow this scumbag now. Piers Mogran also hates Jews. See, and this guy has a huge following, by the way, and this is the problem with Piers Morgan's situation, is that if he does not perform in an adequate manner in defending Israel's actions, he's literally going to be out of a job, and I don't think he wants that. You know, as much as it's cool if he, you know, he doesn't want that, guys. I mean, they're getting rid of their own spokespersons for their military. You know, because they say the wrong thing or they look stupid on it. Remember that guy that couldn't even name how many Hamas fighters were killed? Do y'all remember that shit? Dude was on Piers Morgan looking stupid, and the Israelis got rid of him literally the next day. It was hilarious.
You spew such hatred about them.
He wants a clip. Bro, you guys call me a clip farmer? This guy's an A1 fucking clip farmer.
One more time, just for clarity. I think you should be honest. But do you hate Jewish people?
He just...
All right. But yeah, shout out to Dan Bilzerian, guys. Solid guy. You know, he's risking... Let's keep it real, man. He's risking a lot of opportunity. Well, who knows, man? We don't know if he really had any opportunities, but... You know, because he did fall out for a little bit, but this is kind of, you know, he's kind of latching onto this newfound... clout, you could say, when it comes to the the Palestinian conflict. So he's been popping on X apparently. So this shit saved his career pretty much. So his ass better defend what's going on in Palestine. Stop, better do that shit.